last time on Oz Hour?
Oh my god. last time on Oz Hour. What happens? Okay. Pawn, he goes to the king to basically be like, surrender. You're gonna surrender to us. Because no one else could go for some reason. And the Scarecrow is like, yeah, you're gonna go. And I'm not going to go. And of course, he gets beaten almost to death. They come back and they're like, oh, that sucks. And Scarecrow is like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to go. And and then we get pulled back to our missing boy, Button Bright. And he finds our best friend, the orc, in Orkland, because it's actually really not that far away. And so he's there, they're there. He's telling him all the tea, the drama, what's going on. And he is like, okay, let's go. So they go and what's going on? They're there. Oh, the Scarecrow goes and then he gets tied up and then is almost going to get burned to death in front of everyone, like it's the fucking like Salem witch trials or something. And so then he's there, but then last minute before he gets burned to pieces, Orc comes in and saves the day. Done.
Hi there, and welcome to episode 58 of Oz Hour, the only place where you can hear everything you never knew about the wonderful and strange land of Oz.
That's right. With the help of some alcohol, we will be discussing each of the 14 books in L. Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz series.
Today, we will be continuing with Book 9, The Scarecrow of Oz, covering chapters 19 through 21.
We're your hosts, Blake Stone.
And Wyatt Swangham.
And joining us, as always, is our resident Oz initiate,
Anna Agora.
Hello, mate.
Oh, we're from different continents, ain't we?
Okay. You were doing French, you were doing Australian, you went to British.
Oh,
So
We're diverse.
we're
here.
diverse. No, yeah, I said we, but I wasn't saying it was only the two characters.
the royal we. Okay.
Woo, I'm just gonna leave you to the intro in the future, Hannah. I shouldn't have joined you out there.
I like a collab.
Let's work it out on the remix. You just played last time on, where you recapped what happened last time on Oz Hour. That only took you 1 minute and 20 seconds to cover.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how like you gauge success for something like this. I mean, nothing really happened last time.
Yeah. It wasn't a lot to recap.
Well, I felt like I said a lot of something.
It was
You
just like
did.
the one thing about the Scarecrow and the fire. The rest of it was kind of just like going back and forth between the palace and Pawn's hut.
That's true.
I will also say that Button Bright didn't go to Orkland.
Oh my god, no, the orc went back to
Yeah,
Orkland.
the orc came back and he was like, it's really
I
far.
didn't even notice.
Why did I think it was so close?
Charlie,
Yeah.
play it back. Before we started recording tonight, Wyatt went ahead and whipped up some cocktails. What do we have here on this cold December evening?
Tonight we are drinking a heart warmer. The recipe for which you can find at our Instagram on Oz Hour Podcast, at Oz Hour Podcast. It's sort of a hot toddy. It's more or less a hot toddy.
Okay.
But be careful slurping this one, folks. Don't burn your lips and gums.
I'm curious about that cocktail name. Hey, that's
good.
yummy.
That's good. That's a honey lolly.
Maple syrup.
That's sugar pie honey bunch.
Oh, I could drink 10 of those.
Chapter 19. The Conquest of the Wicked Witch. Oh, wait, no. Chapter. Okay. Chapter 19. The Conquest of the Witch.
How dare you say the Wicked Witch?
Sorry. I know.
So now that King Cruel has been defeated, one of the orcs is sent to Pawn's hut to like let all the kids know.
Yeah, because everyone's just hiding there, like waiting to see what happens, basically. Because the Scarecrow left them there.
Yeah, that's.
So they don't
don't
actually
even know
know.
that he almost just got.
They have
fucking,
no idea.
Yeah.
They probably. I'm like, did they see the flames?
They said
If
that
they saw that, they would
Oh
be
my
already
God.
leaving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they'd be going away.
The orc would have bumped into them on the way.
Yeah.
Well, it said that the fire could be seen from miles away, even during the daytime.
Yeah, maybe they just weren't
So,
looking.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about how bright that would be, that's insane. Okay, well, anyway.
When they got the good news, Pawn, Gloria, Trot, and Button Bright make their way down to the castle. And they're surprised to see that the Scarecrow is wearing the king's crown and he's sitting in the throne while everyone is bowing at his feet.
Yeah. And
We got King Scarecrow back.
so they kind of like
Okay.
enter and they like also bow because they're like, what the hell's going on in here? Like, okay, cool. But then Captain Bill, who is a grasshopper still, jumps from Trot's arm up to the Scarecrow and he's like, hey, isn't Gloria supposed to be the queen? Like,
Yeah.
didn't we have a deal?
The Scarecrow shakes his head and he's like, you stupid fool. Did you really believe that I would give up this power?
Oh my god, what is this?
Just kidding. The Scarecrow's like, no, Gloria's going to be the queen, but her heart's still frozen. She can't be a good queen with a frozen heart. Like, so I'm
Well,
going to
let's-
sit on the throne while we get that figured out.
Get Glinda. Scarecrow, do you not have her on speed
Glinda.
dial?
Yeah, isn't
Why
Glinda
do
just reading all
Also,
this?
yeah,
Yeah.
Glinda, what are you doing?
Why do we
actually?
have to go get Glinda? Glinda,
Yeah.
just come here.
Exactly.
Dude.
Well, there is one other alternative though, because the Scarecrow turns to the orcs and he's like, "Hey, can you find Blinky the witch? She's somewhere in Jinxland, and she did this." And the orcs are
that
like,
crazy
"Oh."
bitch?
Well, the orcs are like, "Yeah, if she's here, we can go grab her." And the Scarecrow's like, "Okay, bring her to me, and I'll decide what to do with her."
Eyes in the skies. Eyes
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
skies.
dude, literally, and there's
Eyes in the
50,
skies.
there's 50 orcs. They're like up in the air,
Yeah.
like, it ain't me, it ain't me, I ain't no senator's son, no.
Oh, patriotic. I get it.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
That is a Vietnam War era song. Everyone knows that.
Okay.
Oh my god. Listeners, it's not me, it's them.
Well, the orcs do form a squadron, and they do blast off up into the sky to search every inch of the land. And they're up there for a while, I think. It doesn't.
No, it's actually quite
Oh.
quick.
It's really quick.
It's the fastest thing ever.
Actually, by the time you finish that sentence, they had already found her and brought her back. But no, they're flying over Jinxland very quickly because there's so many of them. They've got these great eyes. They find, and Jinxland is tiny. They find Blinky. It's just really funny because the book specifically says all of that. It says Jinxland is small. Their eyes are great. They're in the sky. They can see everything, and they find her quickly. It literally says. Oh, okay.
Well,
I'm
when you
so sorry.
copy paste the book into your notes, you happen to know the exact words they use.
Okay, and it's getting personal. Blinky's hiding under a bush.
Yeah.
They see two little boots sticking out, toes down, not like in the movie.
Okay.
Toes
Yeah.
down. She's hiding under a bush. Oh no.
And one.
Come on.
What?
Hide it under a bushel. No. I'm gonna let it shine.
Oh.
I didn't grow up with
That's
that.
not the lyric that I would remember. Hiding under a bushel.
Blinky is hiding under a bush, though.
No.
Blinky is hiding under a bush, though, and her little legs are sticking out, and one of the orcs sees it and whistles. And then, like, 3 orcs swoop down and grab her. Like
Oh
and they
my
just,
god.
It's like a salmon catching a trout
All of a sudden,
out
I
of
don't
a
like the
river.
orcs anymore. I don't
know,
like that.
because they're huge. And
Yeah, they're
huge.
predators.
They each have 4 arms with little hands on them too. So there's like
Oh.
12 arms just grabbing her, and they have her by the clothes, and she's like screaming and like writhing, but they're just like grabbing her and like kneading her.
Yeah, she's defying
Stop.
gravity for sure.
Yeah.
So they take her back to the royal palace where the Scarecrow's waiting for her, and the Scarecrow tells her, he's like, I command you, gently but firmly, to undo the witchcraft you've performed against Gloria. And Blinky is literally
She
like,
spits on the ground.
as if.
Yeah.
What?
She says she's gonna turn them all into pigs and make them
Yeah.
dig around in the mud.
Yeah. She says, oh, I
God.
defy you.
Yeah.
You will be in front of me in a moment.
Yeah.
The Scarecrow is like, that really sucks that you're being like this, because Glinda gave me a box
Oh my
and
god.
I was only going to open it in the case of an emergency.
I'm scared.
And he like turns to Trot and he's like, Trot, little girl, would you agree that this is an emergency? And Trot's like, goo goo gaga, boo, I
just baby.
And Scarecrow says, very good. And he agrees. And so he opens up that box.
Oh,
and
God.
he is like kind of like walking toward Blinky in this moment anyway. So he like opens the box and just like throws the contents on her.
It's this white powder. He throws it in her face.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of like
Acid.
floating around on her. She like scrambles away.
Yeah.
Like she's like, ah.
She shrinks away from it. And then she begins to literally shrink. She starts to get smaller and smaller.
Oh my God.
And it's kind of slow. Like
it was a berry smoothie.
It's
yeah, exactly.
slow.
It's giving
Literally.
Glee.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But she is screaming. And she is like, oh my God, did Glinda give you another box? Like, is there an antidote? And the Scarecrow is like, yeah, there is. And she's like, throw it on me. Quick, like fucking throw the antidote on me. Please, I'll do anything you want.
And Blinky's going crazy this whole time. Like she is like
I wonder like if
set
it
off.
Do you think it like hurts?
I don't think so. I think she just knows what's happening. I mean, obviously she knows she's shrinking.
She's shrinking into nothing.
Yeah.
Oh
and
my God.
So, but it's going kind of slow. It's not like she's at the size of the Scarecrow's knee yet or anything, but she's like getting visibly shorter and like compressing, I guess. And so the Scarecrow's like, yeah, like I'll give you the powder, but like you have to do what I want first. And she's like, what do you want? Like, what could you possibly want me to do?
what I just
Literally,
fucking
I
asked
know,
you
I'm
2
like,
seconds ago, you
already
stupid ugly
told
bitch.
you to undo the bad thing. So like,
So
why are you asking that?
Then he skips that first one he already asked for some reason. And he's like, you made Captain Bill a grasshopper. Fix it now.
Okay.
And she's like, oh my God. Like, literally, she's like, where's the grasshopper? Bring me the grasshopper.
yeah, literally, she's
let me
like,
do it. That's easy. That's easy work.
And Captain Bill obviously wants to be turned back, so he jumps right up onto the Scarecrow's shoulder. He's like, "I'm right here, like,
Hear
do
me
something."
roar.
Yeah, yeah.
But Blinky is just like, boom. Captain Bill turns back into an old sailor man while he's still on the Scarecrow's shoulder. They go to the ground.
Yeah, he crushes the Scarecrow, but not in like a painful way, obviously. And Scarecrow stands back up, and he's just fine. And Trot goes and like hugs Captain Bill, and there's like a reunion because now he's finally a human again. But at this point,
Cute.
Blinky is half of her normal size. She has shrunk from probably 5 feet tall to 2.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
Oh no.
She's really little, like dangerously little at this point.
Like
she-
someone can crush her.
Yeah.
Yes. And she is begging for the other box. She's like, please, Scarecrow, please, like, give me the antidote. And
Not yet.
He's like, nope, not yet. You need to melt Princess Gloria's frozen heart first. And Blinky is scared now.
She's like crying.
Because she's like, I can't do that. Like, that is so hard to do. Like, that's going to
Well,
be...
you're gonna have to figure it out.
And she's like, and I'm also getting smaller
Yeah.
every
Like,
minute.
she's like, I don't
so it
have
gets harder every
time.
minute.
And
And the Scarecrow literally is just like, well, you must.
yeah, he doubles down.
So she begins to
Dang.
frantically dance around. She begins to dance like no one is watching. She's going crazy, busting fucking moves all around Gloria. And Gloria's just standing there like watching coldly, you know.
Yeah,
she has her whole
she doesn't
frozen
care
heart
about
thing.
anything. During like the dance, Blinky rips out a handful of her own hair.
Like a
She
chunk.
rips off some of the fabric from the bottom of her skirt, and she is
Oh,
just
she's getting
like
witchy.
Yeah.
she gets down on her knees in front of Gloria, and she like puts the hair in the cloth, and she takes out this purple powder from her bag, and she's like, oh my God, like I fucking hate doing this. Like, it's the last, this purple powder, whatever
Whatever
it
it
is,
is.
it's the only thing that can reverse this spell,
And she does
it is
not want to use it.
it's the last of it on the entire planet. She's going to have to use the last of it.
Yeah. Or else she
on
will
a spell
shrink
that
to
she didn't
nothing.
even have to do.
Yeah, why'd
Yeah,
you do
exactly.
that?
It's classic example of waste. Like she did something that then caused yeah.
Ugh. But she
And we'll also say lots of shrinking in this book.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
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 Lots of
Just a thought.
switching
He's
up.
playing with things.
She
Blinky,
is.
she like pours the powder over the hair and the cloth, and she is like crying, and she's like, match, I need a match. Somebody please give me a match before I shrink into nothing. Thank God she switched Captain Bill first.
Literally, because Captain Bill,
He had a match.
he has everything in his pockets.
Yeah, he's got all those
But
pockets.
he's the only one there with a match. Otherwise, Blinky would have gone to nowhere, and then honestly, Gloria would have been fine eventually because they would have gotten Glinda to do something.
Yeah.
But it's good that Blinky did it. So
Yeah.
she is presented a match, and she takes it, and she strikes it.
A purple cloud rises from the flames, and it like envelops Gloria.
Yeah.
And it goes from purple to like this rosy pink color, and then they can like see through the smoke. And through the cloud, they can see Gloria like standing there, just like, I don't know, almost like herself for a minute. Like it says she's like standing like proudly or something like that. And then her frosty heart becomes visible in her chest, just like last time when we could like see through her. But now it's frosty, and it starts to grow brighter and warmer, and the frost is gone, and then it's just this nice pink beating heart.
And it's beating again like a normal heart. And at this point, the smoke kind of like dissipates, and like she just has this huge smile, like this like radiant, like perfect fucking smile.
She's Gloria again.
Yeah, she looks exactly like herself.
Which we never really knew the normal Gloria as readers, but
The way this book needs a movie.
I
yeah.
know.
We need someone to pick this up.
This is
Scarecrow of Oz. Change the name,
Yeah,
just a
change
new
the
movie.
name.
It's its own thing.
but make it based off this story.
This is the first one, like for pretty much all of them, been like, oh, when they do the movie this, when they do the movie that. This is the first one that I'm like, no, I want to sit down and watch this in the theater. Like,
This would be so good.
and it's so ridiculous.
They'd have to change so much.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of changes, but the action.
Oh my
this is the
God.
best action in Oz book,
Yeah.
and there have been wars and murders, and this has been the best action.
the island.
Oh my God, the island! So much has happened.
I'm just like
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the
Well, and, like,
whole book overall. That I'm just like,
underground in the cave,
wait a sec.
underwater lake island. It's
We
too
started
much. Bumpy
in
man.
California, and we were
We
in a
did.
cave for 2 days before any of this could even happen. That's actually so crazy.
At this point, Pawn steps forward, and he's still kind of afraid because he's had such a big like rebuff from her recently.
Yeah, she's rejected him like 3
Yeah.
times.
But he kind of like reaches his arms out, and he's hopeful. He's like on the edge of tears, and she sees him, and she literally runs and leaps into his arms, and they embrace. And the crowd, like, it is so perfect and precious that the entire crowd literally like they can't even look. They're just like, I like can't look at that.
They
because
look away.
It is so pure and precious and like love, and that's not meant for my eyes. Like, it's amazing. But then
Gorgeous.
Blinky's little voice buzzes up, and she's like,
Ew.
"Give me the box."
Someone step on her quick.
Literally,
The Scarecrow looks down at Blinky. She is shorter than his knee. She's
Yeah.
like the size of like the first part of his leg.
Yeah,
The Scarecrow, and the Scarecrow is probably
tiny.
not very tall.
Yeah.
The Scarecrow, without a word, he just takes out the other box. He sprinkles the contents over Blinky, and Blinky stops shrinking, but she does not start growing back to her regular size.
And we are told that Blinky knows that she will never be able to get back to her normal height. She will always be this size. So she is fucking pissed. And immediately she starts an incantation. And this incantation is so terrible that it will destroy half the population of Jinxland. And she's getting close to finishing. And she does. But then nothing happens. Because the second powder also took away all of her magical powers.
Damn, it's giving
Yeah,
mom
it's
baby.
giving
Yes.
It's giving the Gnome King.
Yes.
It's giving the fucking.
Where are
the
we?
Gnome King twice got his powers taken away.
We need
Sorry.
a book with all three of these villains.
Where they like, we're
like a
coming
fun
back.
little like
like a buddy comedy kind
yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Bad Guys 3.
Yeah,
But so Blinky, she is a third of her regular size less.
Yeah.
She is powerless. She has no magic.
Oh
And the
my
Scarecrow looks down at her and he's like, "Go home, Blinky." Oh,
Yeah.
oof. Oh,
I mean,
Go-
that's what she fucking gets.
Yeah. Literally, like, it's just crazy.
Like,
'cause-
if you just never did that, you would be chilling, doing whatever you've been doing
Yeah.
this whole fucking time.
Yes.
she
but
could
you
be
decided-
Glinda. She could be Glinda right now with her power.
And
you
it's
decided
not-
to freeze some innocent girl's heart for no reason.
because you're just evil.
Yeah.
And
For fun.
literally, oh my God. Because it's not even, you're under arrest, like the power of Ozma compels you. It is just go away. Nobody wants you here.
we actually are
Literally-
we don't want to see it anymore.
The Scarecrow says, "You're just an old woman, and you have no power to do evil."
Oh my God, she.
Yeah.
Are we gonna need
He's
a
like,
backstory?
go
Oh
do
my
some.
God. No.
He's like, a little advice. Like, it's more fun to do good things than evil things. So why don't you just like spend the rest of your life as an old woman looking for something good to do? Bye.
And Blinky sobs and runs away.
And no one was sorry for her in the slightest. Is literally the last sentence is, and not one who saw her go was at all sorry for her. And I'm not either.
I'm not. It's a little sad to imagine a tiny, tiny old woman running away.
But it's like
but
with
when
the-
you know what she did, it's
Yeah.
not sad.
When
It's
you
like
have
with
the
the Gnome
context.
King.
Yeah.
Like the Gnome King was such
Yeah.
an evil piece of shit. But then it was like when he lost everything, we were all kind of like, oh.
Alfred
Yeah.
Baum really knows how to like humiliate someone.
Yeah, he's got anger in his heart.
Something's up.
He's like, something
needs a
has
revenge story."
changed within me.
But that is the end of chapter 19, The Conquest of the Witch. And Blake, what would you conquest that?
A heartwarming moment.
Oh, okay. Chapter 20, Queen Gloria.
Me snapping.
The next morning, the Scarecrow sends for all of the people of Jinxland to assemble in the throne room. And when they all arrive, the Scarecrow's sitting on the throne and wearing the crown. Princess Gloria is sitting in a lower chair beside the throne. She looks radiant.
Why is it lower?
Well, she's
'cause
not
he's
the king yet. Right now, Scarecrow's in charge.
Pawn sits in
Okay.
another low chair on the other side of the Scarecrow. So they're like on either side of him because they're the two royal heirs.
That's right.
But Pawn is also at this point like kind of looking depressed because he's like, you know, and I don't know what they did last night, but for some reason he's like, you know, Gloria's like obviously gonna be queen. Like she's not gonna want to be with me. She's gonna realize like how wrong this was for her from the start.
Like, literally, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I mean, he
what?
did just endure 3 days with the person he
Of
loves,
rejection.
like,
But
fully. And I know he knows.
it had
I
nothing
know
to
he
do with
knows.
her.
But like, just being able to see her like that probably fucked him up.
Whatever, you big baby. You just got her back. Like, let's go a full 24 hours before we go, "Oh, you're too good for me, Gloria."
Yeah, enough of that. We don't want to hear you cry.
But honestly, Gloria's fine as fuck. She is too good for him. Well, we haven't seen Pawn with a shower, but so Captain Bill and Trot, they're sitting at the Scarecrow's feet, and Button Bright, he's off wandering around somewhere as always.
Yeah,
but,
he got lost before breakfast.
but he's like, I will like. We do learn that he ends up before the end of like what we're reading, so. I don't know when he comes in or where he is right now, but just know that by the end of the scene, he will be there.
Okay. Magic.
Yeah. But at the back of the throne is a row of orcs, and the orc, like our orc, is standing in the middle of them all.
Yeah, so they're guarding the throne, and there's also some guards.
They're
some
about
orcs
to get
guarding
some
the
medals
palace.
of honor.
Yeah, seriously.
Literally, they did everything.
Yeah.
But when everybody gets there, the Scarecrow gives a speech and just kind of explains what's going on. And he does a recap that Gloria's father, King Kind, had ruled Jinxland, and everyone loved him. He was destroyed by King Fierce, Pawn's father. So Scarecrow acknowledges that Pawn's dad destroyed this guy, but then King Fierce was destroyed by King Cruel, who everybody knows that we hate. And he's like, so because of all this, the only person fit for the throne is,
In my opinion.
yes, in his opinion, is daughter of King Kind, Gloria. But he's a stranger, so he can't decide. And he's like, so you guys got to figure it the fuck out.
He
Let's get a
asks
vote.
the people who they want their new ruler to be. Apparently, they do it by like applause ranking.
Yeah. There's like a little like applause meter at the back that like it goes like way
It's
up.
the end of 8 Mile. Like,
Oh my god.
And the fucking Scarecrow's like, all right, cool.
got this
And
guy
what
over
about for my
here."
boy Rabbit? And they're all like, "Ah," and he's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, cut that. So the Scarecrow asks who they want their new ruler to be, and the people are all like, Scarecrow, like, we want Scarecrow.
They're all chanting for Scarecrow. They actually base who they're gonna rule them on the last 24 hours because they're just
Literally, the
obsessed with like the Scarecrow fucking coming in.
The
Like,
only
we've never
time,
seen-
they've ever seen the Scarecrow, he was tied up and being lit on fire. So I don't know, like, what
Yeah.
was so impressive
what?
about.
I saw this man. You should be cheering for the orcs.
Yeah, exactly. We want the
seriously.
orc to be. Like,
I literally thought the orc was gonna come in and rule this place.
Ugh.
But alas, the Scarecrow shakes his head so hard that it almost falls off, and he's like, "No, I don't belong here. I'm just the servant."
yeah, he's
of
like, I'm gonna
Ozma."
go back and be
Uh,
the fucking vice treasury or whatever. Of
Yeah,
Oz.
he's
Yeah,
like,
he's
"Oh,
like, I don't know what this jinx
Yeah.
land
Ew.
is.
Yeah.
First of all, ew.
it was really hard
Uh,
to get here, and you guys are really weird."
Yeah.
But he said though that they need to pick one of their own. So there's a few people who shouted for Pawn, and they're like, "Oh, we want Pawn," but the vast majority, the applause-o-meter was way higher for Gloria. So by audience applause vote, Gloria is nominated as Queen of Jinxland.
Good for you, Gloria.
And
She got the popular
And
vote.
they're,
She
the
did,
people
yeah.
like at least they're not sexist because they could have just chose the guy, but they're
Yeah.
like pawns are
Like, I
slave.
thought he was the gardener.
Like I've seen him. I didn't even know his name was.
I used to like
Pawn.
spit on him.
Yeah.
Like water,
Like-
water this gardener's boy.
Yeah.
So the Scarecrow leads Gloria by the hand to the throne. He sits her down in the throne. He takes the crown off and he puts it on her head. And the people are like, "Yeah, fuck yeah!" And they all bow to her. And Gloria, like, Pawn is like sitting on like, I don't know, lower than her, but she like takes
Way
him by
lower.
the hand. She takes him by the hand. She guides him up, and she sits him down beside her.
Oh.
And she's like, Jinxland has a king and a queen. Pawn is the son of a king, and he's my one true love, and we will rule.
Did she just
Jinxland together.
propose?
She just proposed.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And everyone loves this. And
Oh.
Pawn realizes this is the most important moment of his entire life.
Yeah, everything's gonna
yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Everything changes.
I remember, I really took for granted those days where the love of my life publicly acknowledged me in front of an entire kingdom and then also like sat me on a throne and told me that I was going to be the king for the rest of my life. Like I really took that for granted.
You
So
never know that's your
I'm
high.
glad that he realizes that's the most important day of his life because
Yeah.
I like
It
we-
doesn't
Not the
always feel
several
like it.
we
beatings.
passed these precious moments over. Fucking Pawn. And like honestly, I liked him the whole book, and now I hate his fucking
Yeah,
guts.
you're going crazy.
So Captain Bill, Trot, Button Bright, they congratulate Pawn on winning Gloria's love. The orc rolls his eyes. He thinks Gloria could do better. And the Scarecrow is like, guards, bring me King Cruel.
Yeah. Next up, King Cruel. March him in, and he's covered in chains. He's like
Good.
in his little prison outfit, but it's not
Yeah.
cute
He's
or
like,
sexy.
If my life were important, I would ask, will I live or die?
He definitely doesn't look as good as him.
Oh, he doesn't look a thing like Donny Osmond.
Oh.
But as they drag King Cruel through, the people hiss at him.
Yeah.
They literally like pull away so that their clothes don't accidentally touch him.
Yeah.
And
they're
King
like,
Cruel
"Ugh."
is not himself. He is looking distraught. And
Good.
rightly so. He's
like
a prisoner.
6 hours in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck him.
But he is very lucky because Gloria and Pawn are so happy that they're not feeling very revengeful. And they offer him a role as the gardener's boy because that position has recently been vacated. But he has to swear to do good and change his name from Cruel to Gruel,
Ah,
which I kind of
Gruel.
love. Yeah.
It's giving Mean Girls.
And Gruel eagerly accepts the new position.
Yeah, he's like gruel.
Me gruel.
So Pawn changes into clothes that are fit for a king, and he gives his old brown smock to Gruel. He doesn't even get a new brown
This
smock.
thing he's been wearing for like years. He's like, here you go, Gruel.
And Gruel's like, thank you, sir. I'm going to go water the roses.
Me gruel. I'm gonna go water
Yeah.
the roses.
So the rest of the day is reserved for partying and feasting.
Yeah.
The brass band, they play a new song they wrote called The Orc Trot, and it's in honor of Queen Gloria. And like Gloria and Pawn are like, all right, everybody, on your feet. We're doing the orc trot. 1, 2, follow me. 1, 2, around the floor, shuffle in diagonal. So Trot, Captain Bill, Button Bright, and the orcs are like, oh, we don't need to do that. So they go to a
They go outside.
They go to a
'cause
nearby park.
For them, it's more than a party. It's more like, okay, well, now what?
Yeah, we did what we were supposed to do here. And honestly, everyone is giving the orc his flowers. Like, Captain Bill is like, hey, dude, you rock. We are
Obsessed.
so happy that we met you. Like, I would still be a grasshopper today. I would still be in a cave.
Scarecrow would
Like-
be dead.
Yeah, Scarecrow is like,
Scarecrow would be dead. Captain Bill and Trot would be dead.
The thing
Button
is,
Bright would be dead.
yeah.
if it wasn't for the orc, Captain Bill and Trot would have died in a cave 8 days ago, and none of the other stuff would have ever happened.
Yeah. And then if anything in between, if he had left, they would have died.
I think
They would have died 5 times.
I think the orc is probably, I'm going to say it, Mr. Flipper is my favorite character.
Oh my
I love
God.
him. Honestly, he's so
I like
impressive. He's
him.
amazing. As far as animal companions go,
And he's the only one that's thinking straight.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
he's the most reasonable.
I've liked our animal companions. I like Hank. I like the Woozy. I like the Sawhorse. I like Jim. I like Eureka. Like, I like the animal companions. But honestly,
all those animals are caricatures.
Eureka
orcs-
can
the-
die.
the orc is
Yeah.
a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A man.
Horror.
So yeah, they're just like thanking the orc, and the Scarecrow also. He's like, dude, I would have been burnt to a
Yeah.
crisp if you weren't there. And Trot is like, yeah, well, yeah. Trot agrees. And Button Bright's like, and I'd still be lost if you didn't save me. Like,
everyone's
everyone
really
is
going
like,
up and
hey,
saying-
dude, you rock. We love you so much.
And the orc is just like, friends must stand together. Like, that's the only way forward.
Oh my
But I actually have to go
God.
home now because my uncle has a
Oh.
surprise party, and I
Of
promised I would
course,
attend.
he has better people at home. He has
Yeah.
better, he has good
He's the
people
worst
everywhere.
of the orcs, and
Oh.
he's still so
he
good.
doesn't want any of this.
Yeah, he literally, he wanted to go home, and thank God he ran into these people because they did inadvertently guide
Help
him
him.
through a series
They
of
both- they
extremely
all did.
strange encounters.
That's true. He never, well, maybe not never, but
Yeah.
he wouldn't have found home so easily.
Yeah, so it's good for him
Um,
too, but he
but-
wants to go home.
Captain Bill's like, or no, the Scarecrow is like, that's really too bad because I know we were just talking about all of the great things you've done, but I was really hoping that you could carry us across the mountains.
Wow.
And the orc is like, "How'd you get here? You came across the mountains. How did you get here then?" And Scarecrow's like, "Well, okay. There's a whole magical rope, and I scaled the mountain, and there was
He's
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I'll
There-
be able to find another spider.
Yeah, yeah. Well, then he was like, but I don't think Trot, Cat, and Bill and Button Bright can do that. He
So
was like,
what
"That'd be difficult or
was the
impossible?"
plan?
Also,
Glinda,
where the fuck is Glinda? Like,
Yeah.
Glinda said, here is a bag of tricks for you, Scarecrow. It's 1 powder to shrink a person, 1 powder to stop shrinking a person,
And take their magic
and
away.
2 pills that make a spider's shit a little bit more firm for you to walk across. Go rescue these people. And he didn't have a follow-up question. He didn't say, how do I rescue them with these things? Because then she probably would have been like, oh, you're right. That only got you there.
You're right. Okay. I closed my eyes. Now they're in Oz. It's fine.
Yeah, she's like, what did we, wait, why were you doing this?
I mean, you know what? Let's just not go down this road anyway, because it's we've beaten it with
I am I'm just whatever. I'm mad at her. Literally, Glinda has a book. Like, at least Ozma has a fucking TV. Glinda just sits around reading all day. Get your fucking shoe leather on the ground. Get out there. Go
Get your ass up.
Do
and
a
work.
loop and see what's going on. Why is everyone coming to you all the time? Go to the Emerald City twice a month, 3 times, really. Anyway, oh my God, they just have no government. The orc here's the Scarecrow's request, and he's like, if you guys are down to leave right now and like fly through the night, like, yeah, we'll carry you over the mountain and dump you on the other side. And honestly, for whatever reason why, like, everyone's like, oh, like, now? Why, like, right this second? Like, why not right this second?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it is nighttime.
Yeah.
But other than that,
If the orc can do it, then what does it matter?
Well,
But
just go.
the orc is like, yeah, we're really tired from the whole saving Jinxland thing. We really want to get home. It's a long journey back to Orkland. We have a party to go to. Like, you just asked us for a favor on top of all of the favors we've already done.
So we're
for
leaving
you.
now.
So it's now, or else have fun with the spider. And so they're like, okay, like, we'll go now. Because, like, Trot really wants to see Oz, and Captain Bill has had literally the worst time in his entire life in Jinxland.
Yeah,
So
and
he's
they
like,
can't
I
go
wanna
anywhere
go.
else. I mean, there's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Button Bright's missing.
Oh my!
Yeah, and
Why can't he just stay in one place?
it's a good question. And
So search montage.
yeah, and they search
Search
everywhere.
montage.
Like, the orcs are like, wait, no, now, and they were like, well, we have to take 45 minutes to look for Button Bright, but we still can't say goodbye to the fucking Pawn and Gloria.
Yeah, literally just go over and say goodbye to your friends and go. But also, like, Button Bright's not actually part of your crew, so you can
I guess that's
go.
They can't leave a little boy
I know,
behind.
he's a
Oh,
child.
And
God.
also, like, he's friends with Captain Bill and Trot already, like, from before time.
Oh yeah.
Fine. Captain Bill doesn't even know that little boy. He's been a grasshopper most of the book.
No, but they
But-
knew from when they met in the sky.
In the other
Captain Bill, he didn't know.
stories.
He only knew Trot.
Oh.
Oh.
That's the impression I got. Go back and listen to episode 54. I don't remember what.
I was like, I have no clue.
So-
Never read the books.
Finally, Trot does find Button Bright. He's sitting with the band at the party. He's banging on a drum with the bone of a turkey leg. And he's like, hey,
Wait,
Trot.
who's doing this?
This is Button,
Button
Bright.
Bright.
Oh,
And he's like,
my.
hey, Trot, look at me. I'm playing the drums with an actual drumstick. And
Oh, so you think you're funny?
Trot literally grabs him. And
Yeah.
she's like, come
She
on,
says,
let's go.
Come on, we're going to
Yeah,
Oz.
we're going
Yeah.
to Oz. Let's go.
and he's like, he has what the hurry is, but she just grabs him.
yeah, she's like, let's like,
No
she's
time for
like honestly
questions.
irritated. She's like, I'm 3.5, you're 4. Like, why am I dragging you? But so they get back to where everyone's waiting for them. They all climb onto an orc and they fly off to the land of Oz. It takes like no time at all. They pass over the mountains. They land on the other side. And Scarecrow's like, safe and sound in the land of Oz.
And Captain Bill's like, it looks just like anywhere else. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't that special.
Like, you've been talking about this Oz thing so hard.
And the Scarecrow has a good point, which is like, hey, like, we're in the far south. Like, this is like the edge of Quadling country. This isn't the good part. It's pretty, but like, this isn't the part that's like wowie wow.
yeah, there's nothing here.
And as the Scarecrow is saying this, he is cut off by the whirring of tail feathers and wind. And the orcs call good night as they fly away.
Oh, they're like,
Because they're
we're
like,
gone.
deuces, guys.
We
We've
did
been here.
what we had to do.
Yeah.
And Trot cries a thank you after them, and she's sad because she's like, "Oh fuck! Like, we didn't even get to like thank
Those are
them
my
for everything."
friends.
But they don't need to thank them. They did it because they knew it was the right thing.
Yeah, I wish they would have said.
I do wish they would have said goodbye.
Okay, we have to go now. It was really nice meeting
But in
you
orc
all."
culture, it's different. It just is.
Orc culture.
They didn't even think they needed to say goodbye to Pawn or Gloria, so they're just in
Oh
and
yeah,
out
that's
people.
true.
Um,
Yeah, now we're just done with. Everything's happening so quick.
yeah,
No, just wait.
they're just tying it all up so quick, but then more happens. So the Scarecrow is like, "All right, well, like, let's find somewhere to pass the night. Like, I know how you meet people, like to close your eyes and lie still when it's
people.
dark outside."
So
So
crazy.
Trot
Meet
at this
people.
point, Trot is tired, and she's like, "Dude, we can just sleep under some trees."
Yeah.
And Scarecrow's like, "Oh no worries. Like, let's just walk down the road. We'll see if we can find a house." And Trot's like, "Oh,
Ooh,
Okay.
But they do. Run into a house.
Almost immediate.
And
So he knows what he's doing, I guess.
this is a somewhat familiar situation
Yes.
to me because it's completely dark outside and they find this house.
Oh no,
They knock at the door and there's no answer.
ghost house.
And the Scarecrow opens the door and goes in. And the room fills with a soft light that is
Comes
coming from nowhere. And in the center of the room is a table set with 3 beautiful, smoking, piping hot dishes. All these meals. Trot and Button Bright are fucking what the hell? And there's like no stove, no kitchen. The food is just there. No one to cook it. It's empty.
Yeah. Button Bright says, it's a fairyland past the muffins.
And he tosses his hat in the corner and jumps on the table.
But
And
Trot like looks around the room, and on the wall across from the table, there's like this gold frame, and inside it are letters that just say welcome. And so she's like, I guess like we're guests and I feel comfortable eating this food now.
yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever
So
makes
they-
you feel better.
Yeah.
I know.
So they sit down. There's only 3 seats. Doesn't matter. Scarecrow doesn't have muscles, and he doesn't eat. So they sit down. They eat until they're absolutely stuffed because since they got sucked down a whirlpool, they've eaten like hot molasses and popcorn. And they
Yeah.
did have a feast at King Cruel's, but it must not have
I
been
guess
as
it wasn't
good.
as good, yeah, because this is it tells us it's the best food they've had since they went down the whirlpool, which I believe. It sounds very good. They have a dish of ice cream appears next to Trot's plate, and she says, "Oh yeah, this is a fairyland for sure." There's
Yeah.
ice cream that pops up.
Button Bright's like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
I told you I've been here before.
yeah,
This is a
he's like, this is a
fairyland.
fairyland.
After dinner, they each choose one of 3 bedrooms and lie down to sleep, which I thought was crazy because like Oz houses don't really have bedrooms like that usually.
Yeah, and obviously the house that I'm thinking of is the one that
The invisible people with the wolf.
yeah.
Oh yes, sorry.
That's
Invisible People.
what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah.
But they were all sleeping in basically the same room.
It was
it's
just
like
3 beds
multiple
lined up,
beds
yeah.
in one room.
not bedrooms.
So I'm glad that you remember
and that was
that.
polychrome.
That was in the
Patchwork
Patchwork
Girl.
Girl.
Patrick.
So
Girl.
it was Ojo, the
Ojo.
glass cat,
and Unk Nunky.
and Unk.
Oh, and
no,
the
not
Patchwork
Unk,
Girl.
not Unk Nunky because he was
Stone.
stone.
Oh, you're right.
Who was with Scraps?
Pat
the
Air
cat?
Scraps. Ojo.
Maybe it
Glass
was
cat.
just Scraps the cat and Ojo.
Oh. No, he wasn't with them, but the phonograph.
He was trying to be.
Well, anyway, it is I thought it was like that. It turns out it's not that. I'll just say it. It's obviously kind of different already.
Yeah.
But like, I thought, wow, this is crazy. They're bringing back this weird magical thing that happened, which I thought was really interesting. And then it's not even that. And I was like, okay. Because they just go to bed.
He's
and
so good at doing that.
I know. He makes you think he knows what he's doing, and then he's actually not doing anything at all.
So Trot and Captain Bill each choose a room. Button Bright gets his own room. And Trot and Captain Bill, I mean, Button Bright doesn't give a fuck about anything ever. But Trot and Captain Bill, for the first time in like over a week, are laying down and going to sleep feeling like nothing is chasing me. Like, I'm not lost. I am safe. And I
Yeah.
can actually go the fuck to
And they
sleep.
know they're in the land of Oz, and so they know they're safe too. So it's very comforting. And that is the end of chapter 20, Queen Gloria. And Blake, what would you call that?
Jinxland's crowning glory.
Chapter 21, Dorothy, Betsy, and Ozma.
I know. Literally.
The
girl.
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah. Girl.
Do you know that song was in my Spotify Wrapped?
Oh my God.
Okay. So I can do this really fast for you. Oh my God. We're reminded that the Emerald City is so beautiful. It's in the center of the land of Oz. We're reminded that Princess Ozma's palace is like a city. She invites her most special friends to come and live there with her. We talk about how beautiful Ozma is, how much everybody loves her and respects her.
She's also sweet and generous and noble.
We talk about that. We talk about how great Dorothy is. She's Ozma's best friend. She's the second most loved princess in Oz.
And she's a princess also.
Yes.
And also a country
Princess
girl.
Dorothy.
We're reminded she has had many adventures in Oz. She introduced Ozma to most of her most important courtiers. Elfringbaum also reminds us about Betsy Bobbin. She's from the outside world. She's still adjusting to life in Oz because we just got her last time.
Yeah. I wonder how long it's been. Because I get the impression
4
it's-
months?
Okay, I was going to say not even a year, I don't think, since Betsy arrived. So she's still settling in. She's still a little shy. But one day, so they all live in the marvelous land of Oz. We get that. And they all live in the Emerald City. And one day, Betsy and Dorothy are just sitting in like the Ozma's apartments, and they're looking at the magic picture. We all know the magic picture is like a security camera for anywhere in the world. And the girls aren't really looking at anything specific. I thought this was interesting. They're just channel surfing. They're just checking it out like it's TV.
It has never worked this way before, but because what I always thought was that it's just a painting, but if Ozma looks at it and says, Dorothy, then she'll see Dorothy. But
That
it's
is.
just a painting otherwise. But
That's what I
this,
pictured, too.
apparently, they just sit there and watch it, and it just jumps from thing to thing. They're not asking for anything.
So it's
Yeah.
like the book, kind of, where it's just
it's like the book, where it's just everything.
doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But like I feel like they have to like ask it to like search channel.
maybe it's
you
like
know?
DVR. You can rewind.
Yeah, oh my god,
They're
they
like,
wish.
show me heaven.
But they're just watching it. So they're just doing entertainment TV right now. And there's all sorts of stuff happening. But then all of a sudden something interesting happens.
Dorothy is like, that's Button Bright.
And Ozma comes over and she's like, "What?" like
Yeah,
what's
what-
Button Bright doing?
Why is Button Bright there?
And Betsy doesn't know who Button Bright is, so Dorothy explains he's just this little boy who,
Yeah, she's like, he's that little boy right there who's climbing off the back of that weird bird thing. And she's like, Ozma, what is that thing?
And Ozma tells us that's an orc.
She knows.
And which is interesting. And we are told now that they are watching the scene of the orc and the three big birds taking the friends from the Bumpy
Oh.
Man to Jinxland.
So the timeline.
So this is a flashback.
Yeah, we're back.
We are back. They just
Oh.
arrived in Jinxland.
We just got to Jinxland, and you know how many crazy fucking things
They've
happened
been watching
there.
the whole thing.
The whole
No,
time?
they just
the whole
started
time?
watching.
The whole time?
They just happen to start watching when they land. So Ozma is like, oh, I wonder why those strangers from the outside world and Button Bright are going to Jinxland. Like, that's not a very fun place. It's ruled by a wicked king. To which I say she knew. She knew that
Well, she
Jinxland.
didn't do nothing.
And she.
Dorothy is like, okay, that girl and that one-legged man look like they're from the outside world, so this can't be good. And Betsy's like, he's not one-legged, he has a wooden leg. And Dorothy's like, that's just as bad. Which, woof.
Yeah. Just bad.
Whoa, ableist.
Ozma, yeah, she's like, 3 mortals in Jinxland, this is not good.
Yeah.
So thankfully, she goes to her bed. She reaches under it. She pulls out the magic belt, and she says, 1, 2, 3, bring them back. Just kidding. Nothing
The
like that
magic
happens.
belt doesn't exist anymore.
Where'd
I
it
was
go?
Like,
I'm
wait,
convinced-
they're
I'm-
introducing it again.
They're not.
Where
I
did
don't
it
think they ever
go?
will. I think that because it is so powerful, Glinda said we're going to destroy that, and they threw it into the mountain with fire.
Dorothy,
That's
they
what I
took it
just
to
think.
Mordor.
Yeah.
They said only one person can rule this belt.
Dorothy's like, what can we do to help them? And Ozma's like, okay, let's keep watching them on the TV.
Yeah.
So that's what they do for days and
Well,
days.
no. Because what happens is for some reason the scene shifts and they see the Scarecrow going over the mountain. And they're like, oh, okay.
Oh, Glinda must have sent him.
Yeah.
Whew.
Which they're like,
they're
okay,
like,
so
we're just gonna kick our legs up and eat some ice cream.
yeah, so then they grab the popcorn and they do a movie marathon of Cat and Bill, Trot,
It's the
and fucking
trilogy.
Button Bright. Yeah,
They
literally,
watch
yeah.
Trot,
Extended
Button
cut.
Bright, and Captain Bill being tortured in Jinxland like it's a fucking soap opera. Like they're watching like an episode of Survivor. Dorothy and Ozma are so impressed by Captain Bill and Trot. They also watch in fear, all holding on to each other as the Scarecrow is about to be burned
They're
to
best friends.
death.
Yeah.
They're just
best
like,
friends.
there's like, oh no, I can't believe the producers would do that this season.
Yeah.
But then the orcs
I can't
fly
believe they
in.
filmed
But then
this.
the orcs fly in and they're like, yay, yay.
Yeah.
Ozma is the ruler of the fucking country. And she's sitting here watching. Jinxland is Oz, Wyatt.
I know.
Everyone needs to be arrested in that village right now.
So,
Right now.
He's a politician. We don't do political murder in Oz.
no. But the thing that's crazy is that then Ozma's like, oh, thank God the orc saved everybody. You know what? Go get the wizard. And I'm like, so now you're getting the wizard? Like, now that everything's
They've
saved,
been
you're
watching
getting the
for
wizard?
4 days.
So if he just died, what would you have done? Would you have
Yeah.
gotten the wizard?
I
Or
like,
would you just kept on be like, oh no.
Like,
Oh.
I'm
Literally-
so mad at Ozma and Glinda because if they want girl power, they have to use it. With
I
girl
know.
with girl power comes girl responsibility.
you cannot just hold your girl power. You have to use
That's
your
your trailer
we're
girl
not
right
holding
there.
we're not holding space for girl power.
God, no. Use it or lose it, ladies.
Oh my God.
So she kind of does because she actually uses the wizard's power, but at this point the orcs have dropped the friends off in Oz. So now, or like in mainland Oz. So like everything is totally fine now, and Ozma's like, "Hey wizard, like send them a place to sleep." So the wizard, like who's not as powerful as Glinda but has really strong powers, sends that comfy house that they end up sleeping in. So that's where that came from.
Okay. Okay.
The next morning, Dorothy asks Ozma, she's like, oh, should we go and welcome the strangers and show them the way to the Emerald City?
Yeah.
Because we're still going to fucking make them walk, apparently.
I know, isn't that insane?
And Ozma is like, you and Betsy can go with the sawhorse and the wagon to go meet them. But I have like a really important meeting with Jack Pumpkinhead and Professor H.M. Wogglebug T.E. So like I'm stuck at the palace today, unfortunately. And I'm like, why couldn't you have scheduled your important meetings during your TV watching time?
Yeah, you actually had so much free time this week, it sounds like. Or not
Yeah.
even week.
Like
It's like a couple days.
she's like taking off her sweatpants and she's like, sorry, Dorothy's so busy.
God. The thing is, she was putting these things off for days during her binge watching, and so now she
And
has to go to the
I'm
office.
sorry,
Yeah,
why
I
did
guess
Jack
we all have
Pumpkinhead and
those.
H.M. Wogglebug T.E. in the same meeting?
Well, that's two of Tip/Ozma's oldest friends and comrades.
You're right, they're from the same book.
Yeah,
Oh.
so that's why.
Oh my god, she's like, hey dads.
Oh my god.
But Ozma's like, but Dorothy, like, you totally do that. Go, and if you leave soon, like, you'll probably get there around the same time as them to Glinda's palace. And Dorothy's like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I'll go get Betsy.
Yeah. And do you guys remember a red wagon being involved before?
Never ever.
I don't either, but they're saying it like it exists.
With capital R, capital W, red wagon.
Yeah.
I'm
What?
like, what
So
are you
it's
talking
scaring me.
about? It's the
It's
gump.
a
It's the
name.
gump couches.
There's something that's going to come up next episode that will explain my question more. But anyway, that's it. But that's the end of chapter 21, Dorothy, Betsy, and Ozma. And Blake, what would you call that?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Not the magic belt, apparently.
Ah.
Thank you for listening to Oz Hour. Please join us next time as we continue with Chapter 22, The Waterfall. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Oz Hour Podcast for the latest on everything Oz. Oz Hour, created and hosted by Blake Stone and Wyatt Swingham. Co-hosted by Hannah Aguirre. Audio production by Charlie Johnson. Theme music written and performed by Rudy Klobus. Cover art by Valentin Lucas.